A, Disadvantaged Business and Workforce Advisory Committee to order. I want to welcome all of our members, presenters, and alternates. And just a little housekeeping. It seems like I've been gone for a long time. I missed the meeting when I was in court, and then another meeting. So it's been a while for me. So glad to be back and glad to see some of you that I haven't, at least virtually, haven't seen in a while. And this one, I know our last meeting was in person and this one is virtual. So just a little of the reminders. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. And if you're having technical issues, please let us know in the chat and we'll try to help resolve them. And please close all other teleconference applications. This meeting is being recorded and streamed live by the Metropolitan Council. Meeting handouts and presentations are posted on the project website at swlrt.org. And with that, I will turn it over to my co-chair, Elaine, and for the roll call.
Thank you, Ashante. Dan McConnell. I think I saw you here. Gilbert Odekar.
Yes, Elaine, I'm here.
Thank you. Hi, Gilbert.
Hi.
Barb Lau.
Barb sent a note, she's not going to make it yet.
Okay. Kendra Crone, her alternate.
They both are I think DC maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sheila Olson, I know, is here. Julie Brecky. How about John Clem, her alternate? Yeah. Tony O'Brien. What about Chris Hinton, his alternate? Alex Merritt. Johnny Burns. Or Leslie Woy. Maura Brown.
I'm here. Thanks, Elaine.
Hi, Maura. I know Sean Skivvy is here. I saw him. Derek Gibbons. Noah Pratt. I saw Krista Seberg. Mike Toney. How about Mark Bell? Jess Sterry. I know Julianne is here. Thank you. The April minutes were included in the meeting handouts for review. Are there any edits? Please let us know so that we can make the changes and send them out again. Joining us next to share more details about the Building Strong Communities is Rick Mardigan. He has to leave by 2:30, so for another employer engagement. So we're giving him space for the updates.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Elaine. Do you have my report on, is it up right now or would you like me to call it up?
Is that on the PowerPoint?
I did send it.
Yeah, it is on the PowerPoint. I believe Greg can pull it up.
There you go. You got it up?
And can we have the individual that's joining us by phone? Who is that? Can you identify yourself for the minutes?
Sure, Mike Toney.
Okay, so Mike is here. Thanks, Mike.
Perfect. Well, are you able to call that up? If not, I'll just go through the basics of it. Well, listen, I'll get started just in the respecting everybody's time. We just finished our cohort. It was a week ago, last Friday. We finished with 62 graduates. So we, in effort to bring this cohort forward, we had contacted right around 1,000 or a little over 1,000 people by phone to gauge their interest. From those conversations, we had 482 applicants for the program. The process is once they go through that applicant process, they would go to an information session. We held them virtually, and based upon what they thought, if they wanted to go forward, they could then go to an intake assessment to learn more about the details of the program. So from the 482 applicants, we had 86 that committed to the program. So that was great. And from the 86 that came into the program, 62 graduated. And we had a awesome cohort. We had folks from Rochester, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. And so we had a really diverse group of candidates go through the program. Over half right now are working in the trade that they've chosen. So I'm going to an employer event here in just a couple of minutes. I'll be leaving and with 3 of our participants in hopes that they'll make some connections there as well. And I just heard today from another participant this morning that they are going to begin work on Monday as a laborer. So the representation in the occupations across the board were really the full range of tile finishers, laborers, plumber helpers, electrician, pre-apprentices, operating engineers, carpenters, laborers. It's been a very productive group for workforce and placing people into the occupations that they are interested in. And so with that, we'll continue to monitor all of the placements, but I really think that of the 62, one is chosen to go to a technical school to pursue 1 year of technical college and then apply to one of the electrical programs. But other than that, I think we can be fairly confident that we're going to have the large percentage of all folks with an opportunity to go into the careers that they wanted to. Again, we had all 16 construction trades locals and the Teamsters. Some of the stuff that they experienced, cement masons had a 5-week pre-apprenticeship that was done in conjunction with Sylvia Perez's program for MnDOT. The carpenters had a 5-week pre-job program that was highway heavy related. The bricklayers had a bricklayer pre-job 5-week long program. 49ers just finished up operating engineers 3-week program. So all of the trades, pipe fitters had a series of events, and that was statewide, by the way, in all 3 locations: Rochester, Duluth, and the metro area. So it was a very fun and very productive program, and we had our graduation at North Hennepin Community College, which is our related technical instruction provider and our partner, along with Twin Cities Rise. And it was a phenomenal, for those of you who are there, it was a phenomenal event, and it really is impactful. I've been blessed to be with the organization for 9 months right now, and seeing the impact that it makes on individuals' lives is really rewarding. So with that, I'm open for any questions, but that's a very brief overview of the cohort.
Are there any questions for Rick?
I don't have a question, but it's Krista here. I have a comment. Rick is extremely humble in how he's presenting this, you guys. That graduation the other Friday was probably one of the most moving and inspiring construction event I've attended in 20 years. That group that graduated, kudos to every single person that had a piece of helping them along their pathway, but also a kudos to those individuals. They are seriously incredible. Nice job, Rick.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it really, listen, it was extremely moving. And if you want us to check out the completion ceremony, it is on North Hennepin Community College's link and you can find it on there. It's really, it was a lot of fun. And, you know, we're lucky in the work that we do is to help people connect with the opportunities, provide workforce to our, to the industry. And all of you as a group, the group of stakeholders have a contribution and their success. So I'm extremely excited. And, you know, I keep, the phone calls keep rolling in. I had a call last night from an individual who became an iron worker. And he just said, you know, I'm so thankful for this program. He said, I didn't know, you know, I just thought it would be a program. I didn't really understand that all that would be provided to us as participants. And he just said, I'm so grateful that I was accepted into the program and that, you know, I'm starting, he said the starting wage is a little bit over $30 an hour and plus benefits. But he was just extremely excited and enthusiastic. And he said the people that he was working with were great. And I, as a former tile layer, someone who's been out in the field for a long time, I'm really excited for them because I know exactly what he has going forward. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Krista, for the nice comment.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks, Krista. If there aren't,
Yes, I have
go
a
ahead.
comment. I have a comment and a question. And I know that I think Aaron shared a picture. And if he's able, that would be nice to see that picture of those graduates as well. And I would also say that when I was more closely involved with these types of training programs and this work, it was some of the more rewarding work that I did. I know we report a lot of numbers and stats, which is important in terms of accountability and transparency, but it also sometimes makes us forget about the real personal stories and impacts that this work is having on individuals' lives, and to hear their individual stories and learn some of their individual stories is inspiring. So kudos to you, Rick, and the team that does this work. My question is, in terms of the program participants and graduates, I think we all understand that there is some attrition there, and you know, you lose folks along the way for various reasons. My question is, was this year a typical sort of in terms of attrition? Better, worse? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I can, and just to say that I don't know what's typical, as this was my first year, and it was a larger cohort. I believe the last year's cohort was in the area of 46 or so, and I think they had 37. Don't hold me tight on those numbers, but somewhere in 46 to start and 37 to finish. I don't know what's typical. I thought 72% is what we finished with, and I thought that was a good number. I was really hoping for a little better than that, but I think through the process of this cohort, I'll be able to address some of those areas where I think can be strengthened a little bit, and we could do our little more to bring those percentages up just a bit more. But I think a lot of the folks early on decided that the commitment that they were going to make was going to be too much for them. A different life its situations for a number of folks. They just said, I can't do this and right now, but thank you for the opportunity. So I think you know, from other people in the industry who have done this type of work, I think 72% is probably a pretty good number for completion, and that. But the the more important statistic out of that is the people that are going to work into the career opportunities, and they're going to work in high paying positions. So that to me is a win. And then the careers, the opportunities that they're going into are going to be there for a career. We had a very diverse group as far as age range, every background that you can imagine, everything that we talk about, veterans. We had high school students. We just had such a diverse group, and I think that to a person, they all saw a real benefit to being part of the program. And right now today they're realizing that through being in a position to go to work every day in the position that they chose and the occupation that they chose. So it's really good. I haven't had time to really absorb and do the analysis on everything yet, do a wrap on it, but I'm really happy with the results.
Well, thanks. I was just looking through the pictures that Aaron sent. I don't think I've ever seen you in a suit before, Rick.
Well,
you're looking good. You're looking good.
Different uniforms. Today I have a safety vest on, and I'm going out to a contractor event with some folks. So, yeah, I dress up once in a while, and for something like this, it's required. So it is. You've got to be given the respect that it's due, and I wouldn't give anything less to the people who made it happen and participated. So,
thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ashanti. Thank you, Rick. Any other questions for Rick? If not, next we're going to move into the Green Line Extension Project update.
Thank you.
David, I will turn that over to you.
All right. Thanks, Elaine. Just David Davies here with the project office, public involvement team. Just wanted to give a brief update on things that are going out in the corridor. Certainly construction season has ramped up. To put it succinctly, things are cooking, and it's really great to see out there. This is coinciding. As soon as the weather allows, we also like to start to get people out on the corridor, seeing some of the progress that is made. Next meeting, I'll try to have a couple photos of some of our construction tours that we've had. We've had a couple this week. We have more coming up this weekend, but these are great opportunities. I've talked about these in the past every year. Opportunities to get the public out to some of the sites to see what's going on. And I'll just give a short example in a few minutes when we get to the photo of the tunnel. But Jason, if you want to just kind of cycle through these photos. I kind of focus this month on Minneapolis. So we've got the Westlake Street station here, where working on the station itself, some of the structural elements here and the roof elements. And if you go on to the next one, what's really cool is starting to see the platform extend to the bridge, the Westlake Street Bridge, and then eventually the vertical circulation, the VC building, stair and elevator towers that are going to rise up from these areas and connect up to the Westlake Street Bridge. So monitoring that progress, especially next to an area of open regional trail. So the community is getting a good viewpoint here of the progress that's being made at the Westlake Street Station. Continuing on, there's always a lot of big discussion about the Kenilworth Tunnel, LRT tunnel that's being constructed. But this was an area where we got to take the public on a tour, and I'll just mention once again, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but if you haven't been out to see the tunnel, please go out to see the construction area and what's going on in this area. Obviously, going out anywhere along the corridor is valuable and worthwhile, but we have this unique opportunity right now where we have a trail overpass over top the tunnel. Right now, if you go across the overpass, you're actually seeing completed tunnel, right? Or at least the top of the tunnel, of the tunnel before it's backfilled with soil. But in this area, we're continuing tunnel construction to the north or east towards Cedar Lake Channel, and we're actually also ramping up construction of the tunnel and excavation of the tunnel to the south and west as well here shortly, towards West Lake Street. But seeing this progress is certainly rewarding, and getting the public as up close as possible, right, safely, to hear and experience some of this progress is good, because it rivals the narrative that's discussed kind of out in the community by some circles, that this project, you know, is slow. There's nothing going on. No, there's actually a lot of work going on, and seeing this up close and personal is certainly very valuable for community members that we can get out to see this. So really exciting to get these folks out and hear and experience that work. Jason, if you want to keep going here. Another area that's relatively accessible from the public's perspective is some work that's going on at the Cedar Lake Channel, and we've just recently completed work on the Works Progress Administration historic retaining walls that were included as part of the project with our environmental commitments, as part of our environmental commitments. These walls, as you can see, were reconstructed in place, taken apart and meticulously reconstructed, that line the Cedar Lake Channel there. And that work was very intricate, and you know, took a good portion of this past winter and spring season, but it's nice to see that work is largely complete at this point in time. Moving on, you'll see also in this same area, the third of 3 major bridge structures over the Cedar Lake Channel. The trail bridge continues to be under construction, and certainly a lot of folks are paying attention to that progress. We hope to see you know, the structural progress advance to a point where we can reopen the Cedar Lake Channel to recreational traffic late this summer, early fall, and that should be one of the last major long-term closures of the channel. So the public is looking forward to seeing the progress, and really pays attention to the progress on this structure in Minneapolis. Moving on. Yep, another shot of the bridge, trail bridge there, as the forms are in place and that construction is advanced. Jason, if you want to move on there. There we go. To Bryn Mawr Station has a significant advancement, number of things going on at Bryn Mawr. We've got retaining wall construction ongoing right over to the left there. And then we've got the vertical circulation buildings, stair and elevator tower being constructed that connect to the pedestrian overpass over light rail and freight rail that'll connect over to Wayzata and Penn Avenues there at the Bryn Mawr Station entrance. But that VC steel erection just really kind of popped this season, and the community is certainly taking notice of the progress on that station. I was actually just on a meeting with Bryn Mawr neighborhood representatives, and they're noting the progress on this. So it's really encouraging for them to see the progress on kind of like what they deem as like their station. So again, just an example of like community also starting to take ownership of the work that's being done by this group. It's really cool to kind of like hear that in the community's views as they notice this work. Moving on, popping up to Glenwood. This is also a very visible and noticeable part of the project. We've talked about this here before, but the progress that's being made, the concrete that's being poured, represents real progress on what are 3 different distinct bridge structures, 2 road bridge segments and an LRT bridge that bisects. You can see the West Road Bridge segment and the LRT bridge segment in this photo, with I-94 in the background there. we're hoping to have the Glenwood Bridge open later this year, and that will represent a significant milestone, being able to reconnect kind of like the North Minneapolis area immediately to the west there to the downtown Minneapolis core. That's a connection that the public's been paying attention to now for a while, and so that'll be a big deal when this roadway gets reconnected. So a lot of attention paid there, and a lot of people are certainly noticing the progress as this work is advancing. And finally, from a civil perspective, I've talked about this before. It's right outside of Metro Transit headquarters, so a lot of eyes on this. The 5th Avenue, 7th Street LRT bridge. People are able to like drive under this work now as the structure is being constructed. And you know, we've had some minor traffic impacts as a result, but certainly folks have been able to notice this work as it's right next to Target Field and as I said, Metro Transit headquarters. So a significant amount of work occurring in the North Loop neighborhood of Minneapolis, and folks are certainly aware of this and the connection down to Royalston Avenue as that work is ongoing as well through this year. I think that's it for civil work. On into systems. I think the name of the game for systems, as we've seen over the past month, is the OCS arms installation. Just what's really cool and what we can point out to as we're out on tours with folks or just talking with community members is you can see kind of the march of work as the OS overhead contact or catenary system is installed by the systems contractor. You can kind of like just measure that progress very simply as you drive along the corridor by like where those poles are being erected. And so folks are really easily able to just notice that progress as they march down some of the bridge structures on the western segments. It's very clear and understandable of like where that work is being conducted from a community perspective. This is at Southwest Station, but you'll see in later photos as we kind of like march through. Jason, if you want to just advance, kind of keep advancing there. Some of these OCS poles and arms. And then one of the big keys here is folks have always been interested, they're always interested in how these, we talked during the design of the project of how these traction power substations and other systems houses are prefabricated offsite, and then seeing the installation of these is certainly something unique, and we've been able to show the public in our construction update, like just the process of the cranes picking these and installing these traction power substations onto their foundations. So that process, as APJV has been able to, start to install these structures is certainly something that the community has noticed, and just again represents very like measurable progress as they move through this. So I think we got a few photos of those in different locations near Southwest Station, Eden Prairie Town Center Station, and I forget honestly where that one is, but you kind of see the 301, 302, 303, kind of like the marching from the west going east down the corridor, and that will continue on through this year.
303 is by Valley View, David.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. All right. Jason, I think that's about it after that. Yep. So that's kind of our update. Like I said, our goal this summer is to, from an outreach perspective, is to continue to show people the progress that's being made from a civil and systems perspective, and certainly trying to link up with, I know Krista and I have talked too about kind of doing that together to get folks aware of some of the work that's being done, telling those stories. out in the corridor. So that's my update. Don't know if there are any questions for us. All right, I'll hand it back to Ashanti and Elaine.
Thanks, David. Earlier this week, the DBN workforce reports were sent out for review, and they're also available on the advisory committee page. At this time, if there are any questions relative to the DBE reports, we can address those right now. Hearing none, I will turn it over to Elaine for workforce.
Thank you, Ashanti. Next, we have the workforce reports. Are there any questions regarding the workforce reports? If not, we're going to move into the joint venture project updates. Krista Seberg from LMJV will start with the civil construction updates.
Great. Thanks, Elaine.
I also want to note something. There are some action items from the last meeting that are detailed in the later part of the agenda. For action item 2, starting this month and moving forward, Krista will be sharing the hires and the retention broken out by the gender and ethnicity and by month. So go ahead, Krista. Thank you.
You bet. Let's see. This is Elaine's slide. DBE achievement. There we go.
We can barely hear you, Krista.
Okay, I'm waiting to
One
get
more, at least one more. There we go, I believe. Or these are Elaine's?
These are
Yeah.
mine.
Okay.
Can you keep going?
There we go.
There we go. Can you hear me better now? Team?
It's
Yes.
a little better, yeah, a little more.
Okay, hold on, there we go. Sorry about the dinging. All right, we're back into, like Elaine say, we are going to be showing you each month our reports showing people coming in and also those going out. And I'm sorry, it's a little tough to read this month. I'll make it better next. It's showing all 3 entities of us. So the LMJV, Lunda, and CS McCrossin for this last month, because it was very busy. As you can see, we're showing how many transfers in, and they're in the order of the LMJV, Lunda, CS McCrossin. The rehires and returns. So those that were on their, the temporary layoff, their furlough layoff, the winter layoff, they're rehired back onto the project. And then new hires. Again, this is from April. May, you're going to see a nice increase. So the report, I'm going to make it where you can see from one month to the next, it'll be a graph showing you the ups and downs, if that makes sense. And then also here's the out report. There were very few, as you're going to see now, very few people leaving. You do see a large number in the transfer area, you guys, and that is because of the start of a different project where some of the individuals needed to be put over onto that project for startup. So throughout this season, you're going to be seeing a lot of transfers in, transfers out because of that. And that's for all 3 entities. So like I said, next month it'll be a lot easier to see and read on a PowerPoint, but in a report it's easy when you have it sitting in front of you. Any questions? This is like we were doing all the other years, but it's more detailed. Any questions regarding this?
Hey, Krista, I see the new hires and there's 4 of them. Do you know what trades they are from?
Off the top of my head, no, I would have to look on my, hey, wait, do I have it up? Workforce tracking. I don't have it in front of me, John, but you know what I will do? And I'm going to make a note of it right here. Moving forward, you guys, when we do have this, I will show, because when it's our report, there, you know, I mean, we're laborers, carpenters, cement masons, and 49ers. I am able to give that report, John, for the new hires. I will do that definitely.
I have a question, Krista. You said
bet.
that there were a lot of transfer outs. Where are you showing those?
Out report to the bottom, and you see transfers. There's 4. To me, that was for, yeah. I guess I shouldn't have said a lot,
Okay.
you know, but yeah. I was surprised at how many there were, just myself. And then I realized, I found out that 494 got kicked up, you know, running. So yeah, but it'll be a clearer report, you guys, and I will include the trades. The other thing too, like we've discussed, our subcontractors are required to give me this information also. So I will be able to do a complete breakdown of the new, you know, of what trades these numbers are taking place within. So it'll be very good actual data being presented visually.
Thank you, Krista. Are there any other questions for Krista or LMJV?
If we could go to the next slides, if not, that would be great. So
Okay, hold on a second, Krista. I just wanted to add that next month, Krista's going to be start sharing the hires and the retentions broken out. Oh no, excuse me. The LMJV and the subcontractors diversity separated into the trades, as well as for the administrative staff within the company. So go ahead, Krista.
Well, wait a minute. You mean the company totals, right? I didn't know we discussed administrative staff. That's not, that was in our good faith effort meetings. I didn't think that this was, I can give company overviews. I don't have their office staff.
John, can you elaborate on that? That was what the notes that we had taken from the meeting that we had.
Our
Yeah.
in-person meeting.
Yeah, I believe last month there was a request and then a commitment of sharing the company diversities as
Yeah, I'm the one that brought it up.
right.
But
So
I meant field, you know, for the whole construction, all of our trades. That way we're encompassing at this meeting, not just talking about the LMJV, London, CS McCross, and, you know, like we've been doing. This, we should be reporting on all of our trades. That's the whole, that's what I meant. And then I also brought up the fact, hey, let's look at the whole picture, not just a project, but say Lunda's entire field staff, or Vites or Egan's, you know, that way we're seeing their whole percentage, you know, of participation, not just one project. Correct?
So this is some added information, but it looks like there may have been some miscommunication in terms of what was expected. So I would recommend that we kind of get on the same page outside of this meeting, and we can clear it up for next time.
Thanks, Ashante.
Krista, do you want to continue?
Sure, I'd love to. Absolutely. So just giving you guys a couple of recaps of those big things that took place this last month. That number one, of course, you guys rocking the rails. That took, well, it was in the works for 2 years. The actual planning of the inaugural one. And I'll just let you guys know, I see some great people online. David already spoke, but there's other people that came that enjoyed, that witnessed. You know, of course, every new thing you have, there's lessons learned. But overall, the general consensus from contractors, trades, and our CBOs that were in attendance, everybody was talking about the next one. So number one, we could not have asked for a better day for an outdoor highway heavy construction event. We had approximately, it depends on who you ask. Somebody said they counted approximately 178 people. I have another person who said they counted, like 90 some. Regardless, the numbers were very, very down. But the great thing about it moving forward is we have wonderful partners that were there that day, both putting on the event, but also in attendance, checking it out, that cannot wait to help for the next one to ensure high attendance, both with schools and with the community. So it's great. Exit surveys, we do have 87 exit surveys that an individual is pulling it all together to give us a report on those. So we're able to give to the different organizations and unions, as well as contractors, the contact info for people to get them on their pathway. Unions, we had 9 unions there, and I cannot tell you guys enough what great, huge hands-on things that they had available that day. I mean, they truly hit it out of the park. Contractors, we had 10 contractors there. Half the contractors that were there were DBE contractors that did awesome and really benefited in many ways from attending, not just because of the participants that came, but also building their relationships with the other subs, with their unions. They were able to meet people that they've never met before just via phone call. The community-based organizations, you guys, it was really fun to see the interaction taking place within. And then community-based organizations, and again, wow, above and beyond, they were wonderful. There were 7 of them there, very strong, very interactive. We gave them the tent, so they were happy because it was a hot one. And volunteers, literally over 100 people. Dunwoody was a stellar place for us. They were wonderful. It was great. And if you go to the next slide, you see just a couple of the 300 photos I have from that day. Hey, look at it. It's somebody on our call. It's Mr. David Davies. But anyways, you guys, you see in the big blue picture that awesome big arm. That's actually a concrete pumper for those that don't know. Linda brought it there. It had the 49ers Union flag hanging from it. We got so many calls from people that had driven by it on 94 saying, way to go. So it was really fun. You can see, I showed, here's the electricians, Mike Tony, the systems contractor there. It was actually, you guys, too big of a space for us. We have to dial it back a little bit. But anyways, it was great. The best part then, when we all got to go home and get well rested, if you go to the next screen, the next day was the incredible, the logo is gone, Building Strong Communities graduation. Again, I could have put in so many photos, but I held back. And it's so great to see Sean on this call today, because if you look in the middle picture, there he is, right there at the graduation. You guys, like I said, and it was great, Ashante, for you to say about Rick in a suit. I've seen it a couple other times, but it was absolutely fantastic, you guys. The graduates range in age from 18 to older than me, which is fantastic, which is quite old, as you guys, some of you know. But you can see the bottom left picture. Yeah, there's my cheesy smile. But I'm standing with, on the far left, giving the thumbs up, far left from my screen, sorry. That's Isabel Schultz. She was a graduate from last year. She's a Lunda operator in her 2nd year of apprenticeship, doing a great job. She came with us that day. In the middle is Oscar, one of the graduates who is now a 49er, and rumor has it he was just hired this morning. I hate to say it's not by me. I tried. We weren't quick enough. This gentleman, that smile, you guys, he had it on the entire time. Again, Aaron, Thomas Scott, Jenny Winkler, Rick Mardigan, everybody that's involved with the Building Strong Communities program. I can't give enough kudos to you guys. It was a joy to be there, to see it, and to experience it. That's it for my slides, and I apologize, but this week I kind of overtook a little too much for myself, waited until the end, and I apologize. Moving forward, we have a lot on our plate, a lot of great things. DBE participation, outreach. We are going to be, I have the honor of sitting in the office next to the person responsible for our change orders or moving them along on our thing. We are going to be meeting at least twice a month to review any change orders that have DBE participation in them. So we make sure that everybody's moving it along so we can get things done quickly and the right way for our DBEs. That's a big concern of ours and a big concern of Zach Frost, who is the gentleman in charge of those. We are also in the process of working on project completion process for the DBEs. Any help that they need regarding closeout or anything like that, we want to make sure that they have the information. And we were going to be holding a meeting for them regarding this. So there's the DBE activities. Workforce activities, as you guys know, watch out, it's a lot. And one of the things is I'll be working with Elaine and the Department of Human Rights regarding their kind of the project closeout for workforce for all of our subs. I really want them to, I want to have them complete a packet for us. So we have a project closeout on each one of our subcontractors with their workforce. We will be, as David said, we are doing project tours as well as project presentations. We have an amazing video that I would really like to give at one of the upcoming DWACs that one of our a PM and a field person put together. It's great, but we will be doing the tours. And our goal with those tours, you know, anybody can give a tour. What it truly is the goal of our tours, you know, and everything. So we're putting that together. Those tours are going to include unions, the community organizations, and the schools around the areas, and those that, you know, come to us asking for it. We have a team from the field that'll be doing that. We will be hosting our third subcontractor / CBO mixer luncheon, however we put it together. That'll be late June, early July. I'm working with continued work with Dan McConnell and our other unions, as well as some of the CBOs regarding our work plan for the remainder of the project. That's a big dog on my to-do board in the office. And then the contractors, our company overall picture that we already talked about with you guys, getting those numbers put together. And then the continuing plan for the next Rock and the Rails. That's a quick snapshot of what's coming up. Any questions, you guys?
Thank you, Krista. If there's no any questions for her, we'll be moving on to the systems contract. Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you. Mike Tony.
Yep. Hello, everybody. If someone wants to do the next slide, that'd be great. All right. So, yeah, Krista, great job on that Rock and the Rails, putting it all together, doing a lot of heavy lifting and way to get perfect weather. We're going to hand it to you. Let's see. You know, we had Premier show up and had Gunner Electric and along with Egan and the Joint Apprentice Training Program. And the people that were in attendance were very interested. So it was a great event, and it was a very nice day. So, and also you know, what you saw in the slides that David presented, the setting the houses and the signal houses as well, the traction power substation houses and the signal houses. So during the week of October 14th, we set 4 traction power substations house, Aldridge Electric, our AP and JV, and Gunner Electric. We set 4 traction power substation houses, and we set 2 or 3 signal houses. So that was a year and a half of planning to get that done in 1 week. The next time we'll be setting houses and signal houses. We'll be in August, late August, maybe September. So there'll be another round of doing that, maybe 3 or 4 more this year. And then also, again, at Summit Academy, we're going to help participate in mock interviews again later in June, this next one. All APJV is willing to host tours of what we're doing, so we can schedule that and work out to CBOs or whoever's interested, and that's what we got going on.
Thank you, Mike. Does anyone have any questions for Mike Tony or APJV? If not, I will turn it over to you, Ashante.
Thank you. All right, next we will move to Antonio Elias, who is our Engagement and Development Unit Manager. And he is going to share some information on a program his team is leading and on the verge of implementing.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Can you turn it up a little bit, please?
Yes. Give me a second here. Is this better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Well, hi, everyone. Antonio Elias. I'm the manager for engagement and development over at the Office of Equity and Equal Opportunity. Excited to be here and thank you for the invitation. Before I get started, actually, I want to say congratulations to everyone who was involved in the Construction Career Expo. Congratulations, and if there's anything our office can do to support that, let us know. More than happy to do so. Next slide, please. Whoever has the managing the slides, perfect. Next one, please. Thank you. So first, before I get started in the bench program, I want to provide you with an overview in terms of what our office, or specifically our unit, does. And as you can see, our unit is tasked in developing support services programs and tools that promote the inclusive and equitable participation of businesses and stakeholders in the council objectives. And really, we do that through via 3 main channels. As you can see here, 1 is the communications and public relations. 2 is engagement and community outreach, for instance, events. And 3 is business development through training, education, one-on-one technical assistance, and other services to help these businesses compete more effectively on the main council's contracts and some contracts. So for instance, meet and greets, the mentor protege program, and the bench program that I'll be explaining more in detail right now. Next slide, please. Next one, please. So a bench program, how it works. First, well, the bench program is a pool of certified small businesses, MCUPs to be more specifically, in which prime firms can access to contract them on an ongoing basis or as needed in the following areas: landscaping, building services, and snow removal. Obviously, our main council in our office will encourage prime firms to use our bench program to meet their MCUP goals. As if right now was if the first of this month, we have the following numbers for each one of the fields. So landscaping, we have 77 businesses, building services 62, snow removal 31. One thing that I do want to mention with the numbers that I'm showing right now is that for each one of those services is the service as a whole, right? So for instance, landscaping, not all can do design, for instance. Some are really specific to cutting grass. Building services, the same thing. It can be janitorial services, it can be cleaning services, or any other maintenance request or service, I should say. So we're putting all in under basically that specific field. So that's why those numbers are there. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how it works to continue. So to encourage equitable participation of all MCUPs, our team, engagement and development, will assist prime firms in their selection process. There's going to be ongoing data and reporting on a quarterly basis. Feedback on every single one of the stakeholders involved to enhance and expand the program. In this case, prime firms, the MCUPs, but also the project managers as well. And when I'm saying the project managers, I'm referring to the project managers from that specific contract and that specific field. And really, the model that we envision for the program is, or that we're developing is the following. Bench program positions both the prime firms and the certified small businesses, MCUPs, to have a pathway to mutual beneficial relationships. As you all may know, a lot of it is relationship building. So we're offering a opportunity outside of our ongoing work with the meet and greets with the Metropolitan program. Another program, the bench program, we're offering the opportunity to continue with that relationship, with that network, but also the opportunity to subcontract in fields that are high needed as well. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of the bidding process, the qualifications, the selection, and the recruiting for the program, one, obviously you have to be an MCUP business. Two, you have to be specifically in the following areas: landscaping, building services, and snow removal. In the reason you may be asking why, as to why we're doing those specific fields that we have. We want to start locally with fields that the majority are locally funded or state funded, and the areas that have chosen not only have a high need of ongoing task or subcontracting, but also they're for the most part locally / state funded as well. The selection, MCUPs, well, the MCUPs have the capacity to be part of the MCB program. ADU will determine a pre-approval selection process. I don't think if you click on that questionnaire form, it will open, because I think there's some permission requests with that. But for instance, some of the questions that we ask the MCUPs that want to be part of this program is, for instance, do you have the right tools and equipment to work in the industry? Have you worked with other government agencies as a prime or a subcontractor? Do you have insurance coverage for your industry? As so, type and amount. So we have a list of 15 questions that we do ask the MCUPs just to verify that what they're stating obviously is correct. But also, one of the main reasons for this program is to support prime firms with as needed tasks or tasks that are on an ongoing basis. So there's that. And then after that, we'll have a selection meeting with the MCUP in terms of why they were selected or why not. How can we support that MCUP if they were not selected, with ongoing training or whatever support they may need. So there's that component. And the other thing is, once the MCUP is vetted per se, prime firms will have a list of those small businesses that were vetted, and they can just on the spot on an ongoing basis, like I've been saying, can subcontract them directly without us being involved. But obviously we'll serve as the mediator, liaison, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page, but obviously that the subcontracting goes successfully. Next slide, please. As to kind of where we are right now, this is the timeline. As you can see, there's really two main stages. There's a development stage and there's the implementation stage. The development stage happened Q1, January to March, with the following action items that our team implemented. One, and perhaps one of the most important one, research data that have the high volume as needed task. Also with that, not only with the research, but also we focus a lot on studies/reports that were made in 2021 in terms of the specific fields that prime firms were looking for extra support. In that study, there's really a lot of fields. Actually, there's electrical work, there's concrete work, there's mechanical work, but there's also landscaping and building services. The other ones that I mentioned at the beginning tend to be more at the federal level, federal funding, whereas the ones that I'm mentioning right now tend to be more locally/state funding, which is why, again, we decided to pursue with those specific fields. Obviously, we started drafting the program version. We also met with different departments as well, not just within our unit, but also with procurement in this case. And then the last point as well, which is a very important one, engage with all the stakeholders involved in this program. Obviously, our office, procurement, but most importantly, project managers, the small businesses, in this case, MCUPs, but also with prime firms as well. So that was really the development stage, kind of where we were at the beginning. Right now, we're in the implementation stage. And we have the following areas, which we started already in executing. So the outreach campaign for the program via different channels, we've done that. So far, we have, in less than a month, I want to say it's been a strong 3 weeks of doing outreach. We have so far 22 applications for the program. 12 of those are landscaping, and then the other ones are either snow removal or building services. We also started connecting with project managers to obviously keep the ball going, but also just for any other feedback they might have, but also most importantly, be preparing for those contracts that they go out. For landscaping, there's going to be a couple actually that's going to go out this summer as well. So, and then we obviously intend to continue the conversation with the prime firms as well. So we have a list of all the prime firms that have the contracts of the fields that I mentioned, or that I've mentioned, the landscaping, building services, and snow removal. So obviously we can continue connecting with them as well. And then July, September, we're going to have informational sessions as well to explain more in detail with the program, to continue with the outreach and with the engagement as well. Then we do hope to launch the event in September. We're still working on finalizing the date. And then obviously this is not a one-stop with the program. We want to continue assessing the program, evaluating the program, and that's going to require every single one of the stakeholders involved to provide us with feedback. And like I said, that's going to be ongoing basis as well with that. Next slide, please. Now you may be asking, what are some of the milestones or outcomes desired for this program? And here's a couple that we our team has written down. One is offer the opportunity that certified small businesses receive more opportunities for subcontracting and a network that plays them for long mutual beneficial relationships by expanding their business capacity, programming, and finances. We try our best to accomplish that via the different channels that we have. I mentioned a couple at the beginning with the Metropolitan program, with the meet and greets, with the ongoing training. If at times we don't do that internally, we do refer them to the Department of Transportation, the Department of Administration, because they also have ongoing training in different services as well. So we try again our best to be that mediator liaison in terms of the support that a lot of our small businesses need, right? And then again, the BITCH program is a direct result of that as well. And then another thing that we also want to envision to outcome desired with this program is obviously accomplish the implementation of the implementation stage of the program, in which MCUPs serve as subcontractors and go on undergoing of a series of development training to equip them to compete for master contracts. And then the last milestone as well, and this is probably where I'll continue the conversation with a lot of the folks here or stakeholders involved in this committee, because the long-term vision that we have with the bench program is also to expand it to other fields as well. Let it be engineering, let it be construction, let it be architecture, whatever the case may be, that you need extra support, but also offers the possibility to expand the capacity of our MCUPs as well. We don't envision doing that within, obviously, in the short term, but within the next 2 or 3 years, we do envision opening and expanding to those other areas as well. So next slide, I think that's might be the last one. I do want to offer the space for any comments, questions, concerns, or anything that I personally can respond at this moment, but also I'm more than happy to, follow up the conversation off the line as well and have that one-on-one interaction or meeting with the stakeholders involved in this committee as well.
I have a question, Antonio.
Please.
So this is tailored for the MCUBs. What's the difference between the MCUB program and the DBEs? Why would a company choose to be in one program versus another? What distinguishes them?
So MCUB is locally with us, right? The Metropolitan Council Underutilized Business. In most cases, you can be both. You can be a DBE or an MCUB. Our office is just specifically targeting MCUBs for the purpose of this specific program, for the bench program. We also have other tools as well, as I mentioned, the Metropolitan program or the meet and greets. But if in this case you're an MCUB or you're also in DBE, you're more than welcome to be part of the bench program as well. So there's no really big difference. It's just a matter of we're trying our best to support our own Metropolitan Council Underutilized Business, our own MCUBs first. Obviously, if you are certified as a DB, you're more than welcome. If you're certified as a DB, but you're also an MCUB, you're more than welcome to be part of the program as well, or apply at the bare minimum.
Well, and maybe I can help a little bit, Elaine, on this. If you are their MCUB does not require a separate certification, so there would be no one has to complete a certification to become an MCUB. If you are Minnesota-based and are certified as a DBE, you are all automatically enrolled in our MCUB program. If you are in the state's program, Targeted Group Business Program, you are automatically enrolled as an MCUB. If you are a woman-owned, Black-owned, Indigenous-owned, Hispanic-owned, or Asian-owned business with the CERT program, you're automatically enrolled in our MCUB program. And the reason why we target these sorts of programs towards MCUBs is because we apply MCUB goals to locally funded projects. We have a little bit more flexibility in terms of what we can do and in terms of being intentional about our efforts than we do when there's federal funds. There's a lot more restrictions and requirements that don't allow us to do certain activities relative to our certified businesses.
Thank you, Ashanti. That helps a lot. Thank you, Antonio.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other comments, questions, concerns, feedback? Like I said, I'm also more than happy to continue the conversation offline as well.
Thank you, Antonio. I would also like at this time to promote an event that's happening next month for our Blue Line, Metro Blue Line extension project. The BLRT project is starting up, and we want to add the synergy of the discussions here to ensure that we can increase the outcomes and opportunities from that project. I know in a lot of ways, and maybe a lot of it is due to my time coming to the council, but in some instances, it seems that we're trying to tackle issues well into the project, and we didn't have the structure or foundation built in on the front end. And we don't want to be in that same position with the Blue Line project. And we've learned a lot through these conversations and these committees in terms of what works, what best practices, what are some of the challenges we still face and have to address. So we're having an event, and the flyer that we shared that's in your handouts, please share that with your networks. Our target audience are those who want to have an input and say on what types of outcomes we want to see relative to small business and workforce on the Blue Line Extension project, and community-based organizations, trade associations, business associations, community advocates, folks impacted along the project line. So please share, please come out. Again, I know it seems as though Blue Line is a ways away, but again, we want to make sure we can develop some strategies and that they're thoroughly vetted and we hear from the folks that we need to hear from to be able to implement some of those things on the front end of the Blue Line project. Any questions before I move to my next announcement? All right, I also wanted to talk about something that the council has authorized in terms of a builder's risk insurance policy program and our rail liability insurance programs. So it's been in place since 2018, but it's been expanded. And there's just not a lot of information out there about it and how it works and why it's important. And yes, up there, that's the upcoming bit. But we normally, what builder's risk insurance is, it's either, it's a risk insurance policy which is generally provided by the contractor on a construction project, and it covers damage to property or materials during construction. And normally contractors and subcontractors are required to get this on their own. The council has negotiated and has purchased this insurance, blanket insurance, and so that it no longer requires contractors to get that insurance on their own. Same with the rail liability insurance. There's no fee associated with the builder's risk. There is a small, or I should say nominal, a fee in terms of that you have to pay for the rail insurance, but it doesn't require contractors to get the insurance on their own. And sometimes we have discovered that, you know, obtaining these, especially the rail insurance, can be a barrier to some small businesses when they're trying to bid or compete for opportunities on projects. So we are just trying to promote it and make sure that folks, especially in the DBE community and small business community, are aware of this and aware that they don't have that requirement when they are competing for opportunities on our projects. All right, I'll turn it back over to Elaine.
Thank you, Ashante. So this time in our agenda is when we welcome public comments. There is no one signed up for a public comment, but if you wish to offer some at a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting, please pre-register by emailing public.info@metc.state.mn.us. And you can also send us your comments by email. Ashante, I will turn it back over to you since there is no one signed up for a public comment.
All right. Again, I'd like to thank all of our committee members, alternates, and presenters. And with that, this brings this May meeting to a close, and we can adjourn this meeting. The next advisory committee will be on June 15th. It will be in person at the Green Line Extension Project Office in St. Louis Park. We have included the address on the next slide, I believe. Yes, there we go. So please stay connected via our construction updates, social media, and through the project website. You can also connect with me or project staff. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second by Ms. Valadez. And this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next month.
Thanks.